I am here with my amazing client and friend, Ashley. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your cancer diagnosis journey.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 38. However, I did find the lump when I was 35 after nursing my daughter. And I went to the doctor and they did feel the lump. I had a mammogram, but it ultimately ruled just to be dense breast tissue. Followed up 6 months later, you find just dense breast tissue. Wasn't until 2.5 years later that I demanded another mammogram. And unfortunately, at that time, it ended up being stage 3 triple positive breast cancer. And so I can picture myself on my husband's closet floor crying hysterically into the phone to Amy, our mutual friend who introduced me to you. And I needed to control what's controllable. I love you for many reasons, but a big reason is all of your evidence-based research that you provide, your justification of why we're doing what we're doing. What can I do? And you're spending hours online researching, looking up different things. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do some fasting. I'm going to do some plant-based. So I went in a little bit, like a little crack, and then you just opened all of these other doors for me. In front of me is the binder of all the information that you have sent me. I have a confession to make. Like, this is my Bible. This is what I use regularly.
And I'm curious, were you asking your physicians anything about nutrition and lifestyle and how it's related to cancer? Did they have any answers for you?
When I found out that I was diagnosed and then through treatment, you ask them, what could I have done differently? What can I do now? And they're like, nothing. I can think of when my platelets started dropping really low after I had been in treatment for a while. If it goes too low, then you can't get your chemo. And I'm like, let's get this puppy done with. I don't want to delay. And they're like, there's nothing you can do. And I'm like, we'll see about that. Reached out to you, and then boom, Allison with the win every time. People are like, oh, now that you're done with treatment, are you done with plant based? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. And so I just had a regular physical, do all my labs because she's like, oh, you're not eating any meat. No, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful, perfect panel, iron high, protein high, all the things that they were worried about. Nada. It can be done, and it can be done, and and I feel so good.
Did you have access to an oncology dietitian during your cancer treatment?
I was never offered it.
You don't have to say which one you're in, but you're in a big hospital system.
Very big. Yeah. I've asked this, and I will continue to advocate for changes to be made because this is something that should be offered to everyone.
What problem do you think I helped solved or
Okay,
helped guided you to solve?
so I think the biggest thing is the fasting before chemo, just like the research behind it. It helped preserve some of your healthy cells. And then also the other piece to it was the neuropathy piece where so the icing protocol. So it helped me reduce the side effects that chemo caused. When things would pop up, like when I did have some mouth sores, you had a solution for everything that I encountered, whether it was diarrhea, whether it was sores, whether certain lab values dropped or became elevated. You had a nutrition based, natural, organic way for me to treat it, and it worked. And so then you're hooked, right? And then you had evidence to back it up.
What would you say that were the 2 or 3 parts of the program we're working together that had the biggest impact for you?
Every 2 weeks, we would check in.
Mhm.
And I think the check ins are important because things can change because, as many know, chemo has a compounding effect, right? And so as I was going through my treatment, the fasting was working, the foods to eat, because the first 7 to 10 days for me, I couldn't eat certain food, but I needed to get nutrition in me. And you were like, do this, not this.
Finish the sentence if you can. I almost didn't join because.
I can't finish that sentence because I think that you were so gracious and you put me in, but I was never not going to do it. It was never a question, honestly. And I think that speaks volumes because you've made such believers out of everyone that you've worked with. And I can't tell you how many people I have shared your information with too, because it's like a therapy session working with you and talking with you. I had a really tough time and you made the rainbow in the storm. If you feel like the wheels are off the car, you feel like you don't have control. You feel like there is a team that's making all these decisions because they've gone to school for a really long time and this is what they're trained to do. But it doesn't feel like they always like specific to you. You are just like breast cancer patient, triple positive to be exact. But doing this program, you are controlling what you can, right? You are calling AAA to come get fix the
Yes.
tire. You are flagging someone down to charge your battery. You are putting yourself back in the driver's seat. So you have all of these experts telling you this is what you're going to do. And this is something where you're like, no, I'm in control. And you don't have to go crazy right away. You just have to do one meal. Just swap out one meal and see how you feel. One day at a time, one meal at a time, one session with Allison at a time, and if it's not working, then you can always stop, but you got to just try. I think another benefit too is that like on many levels, I connected with you because we're similar in age. We have young kids. Like, I felt like when I was getting treatment, I didn't have many people that were that for me. And so I'm like, okay, like she's going to see herself in me and she's going to treat me how she would want to be treated. That was important to me.
I'm so glad you say that because that's a phrase I say in my household probably multiple times a day as I'm trying to parent my children is that we treat others the way that we would want to be treated. Even if your 2 year old sister doesn't understand, we treat her the way that you want to be treated too. Who would you recommend this program to? Anyone that you can think of?
I think anyone going through cancer, whether it's your first time that you're going through it or this is the second and third time, as we go throughout, we're picking up tools that work for us. And I think that you're going to find a lot of tools within this program that is going to work for you. So I think everyone, that's not very specific, but I recommend it to everyone. Everyone deserves to have improved quality of life and feel some sense of control.
If you could give one person, any person that unfortunately has to experience this diagnosis and this journey, what piece of advice would you give them?
Find your tribe, find your flame protectors, and then come up with a plan. What are things that you can control? And what are things that you're going to take on? And what are some things that you can let go? And just focus on initially when you're first diagnosed, you just need to focus on that next second, that next breath and then
Yeah.
slowly work up to the hour and the day and the week and the month. And it's just the next step. Don't look ahead because that's so overwhelming. And you're going to get through it. And you just need to surround yourself with those flame protectors and your tribe because the energy that you surround yourself with makes the difference.